Welcome to This Week in Washington for Friday, November the 22nd, 2013. Earlier today, I recorded my quarterly message to our state and tribal delegates. A great deal of the message dealt with things that the association is doing to try to make things better for our members as we continue to work on our larger legislative and political agenda. This quarterly message dealt with the way that safety and insurance play together, and we took an opportunity to explain how making progress on safety through our certifications and through our training linked to the improvements we've made on insurance in the website make it possible for people to actually achieve savings based on the progress they've made as good transportation managers. One of the most important parts of that discussion I was able to repeat is one that reflected upon what we were told when we began negotiating with our new provider, NewTek, about insurance and changing insurance rates to benefit good service providers. They told us then that the real key to developing good financing rates for insurance is dependent upon not so much the overall history of an applicant, but also the management experience of the people who run the organization. We like this because we know that community and public transportation agencies around the country often have very high qualified and experienced people. And we're glad that our insurance company is taking that into consideration. At the same time, we know that the company will give attention and look for ways to give increased discounts to those who participate in important programs like our safety certification and, of course, PASS. As a matter of fact, there are now more people in PASS than at any time in our history, and we have surpassed the 55,000 mark of people certified across the United States. Our insurance carriers were very impressed with PASS, and we think it's an important attribute that means being with our association provides important savings in these kind of difficult times. As the Federal Transit Administration looks at safety, we're also urging people not to wait, to take a look at the certifications and training we offer and move forward now, because the benefits that come from insurance might actually be of a significant value as they wait upon the development of regulations. That turns back to the situation here in Washington. A great deal of uncertainty continues. We're very concerned about the long-term financial interest of community and public transit, especially as it concerns the developing situation around capital investments in public and community transportation. As you know, the last reauthorization made a significant reduction in bus and bus facilities, and we've been working very hard since that legislation passed to build coalitions to support increased investment in capital. Unfortunately, we too are going to be dependent upon how these things spin out in the political process. I would have hoped by now that we would have had more good news on the medical transportation front, but tied to the situation with Obamacare and the continuing hassle over Medicaid and who's going to be covered at the various state levels, a little progress has been made when we should be much further ahead. Again, it was hard to envision when this legislation passed how difficult the issues concerning the political situation with it have become. As we did with insurance, we're continuing to work on new opportunities in financing for our members, especially on the critical needs of financing on accounts receivable, especially as it relates to NEMT. We've talked to people around the country who have waited on an average of 90 days for reimbursements and some up to 120. Those members of ours who are not public transit agencies and those who don't have access to funding like 5311 in particular face enormous difficulties in having enough financial support to operate during these critical periods. We're in the process of doing a major demonstration on this in Massachusetts in conjunction with MART, one of our larger public transit entities that also provides significant brokerage services to community and public transit providers throughout the state. MART, being a public transit agency, is especially concerned on the way these reimbursement rules that the state of Massachusetts has adopted in a similar way to others that force them to wait 90 days before they can make payments to subcontractors. We've established a series of funds to help do that through a revolving loan program that we've set up, as well as an accounts receivable financing program that we're doing with our partners at Newtek. Once this program is a little bit more established and we have more information, we'll be able to see if it's possible to expand that concept to the rest of the country. The important thing about this is that some of this financing can be made at extremely low rates, and some of it can be made to make that period between when a bill goes in and when somebody gets paid to be much easier. We're working also with Newtek to take a look at different kinds of collateralization and different kinds of guarantees so that these funds can be made available. One of the other issues that's directly related to that is the fact, and is part of our growing concern, that when it comes to providing flexible financing and financial investments in the terms of loans or packages and loan guarantees, the government does look more favorably on private businesses than it does those in the nonprofit and in the public sector. So we're also using this opportunity to explore how we can help nonprofits and small public agencies have the same kind of benefits in financing by having their own small business associated with their efforts. Finally, I know that many of you have been concerned for many years about the issue of volunteers and their role in the transportation field. We've had some very good meetings with Newtek in the last 2 months about this issue and about developing a national insurance program that would provide good financial coverage for volunteers in transportation, whether they provide the service or provide some ancillary service as part of that effort. I want to thank Jane Harden of our staff for working with us and Newtek and looking at developing a national program that should be reasonably priced for all of our members who are using volunteers. And I'm hopeful that that progress that we've made in the last month or so will turn into a new transportation insurance program that we can offer in January with Newtek to meet this ongoing need. As we look forward to the situation ahead when we have such significant financial problems and operating costs, I think we all agree that there's room for different approaches to solving the transportation problem. And we think that bringing more volunteers into the system, whether they're helping in the administrative side of a business or some of them are providing the service because that's what they like to do, we need to find more economical ways to help people do that. So I'm very pleased that our relationship with Newtek has already begun to produce those kind of alternatives as well. As we approach the holiday season, I want to take this opportunity to express my best wishes to you for Thanksgiving, and I hope that you'll be in touch about issues and concerns that you're aware of that we might not be, and we'll be continuing to put out quality information and updates in both our fast mail as well as our community transportation magazines, and I would refer you to this week's edition of Rail as well. So thanks for spending time listening to this message. I hope you'll also have a chance to look at the delegate message, update yourself based on what's going on in fast mail and in our magazines, and that you'll be in touch soon. Thanks, and again, have a nice Thanksgiving. Bye for now.